I will have a review for The Right Stuff episode 5 coming later today, but let's talk about the big boy that dropped today, Mando season 2 episode 1, The Marshal. There will be 2 spoilers for this episode in this review. Um, this is my third least favorite episode of the show. Now, episode 5 is the objective worst. The acting and the direction is terrible, but that makes sense. It was Dave Filoni's first directorial review or episode or debut in live action, so it had some issues. But yeah, and then we had episode 6 with the prison break episode. Didn't care for that one. Why this one was my least favorite is because it was the longest in the series history, and I constantly felt that length. It was either too slow or too fast at times. I think it was a good episode still, but it just was kind of like, eh. So we start with this episode. Mando is looking for other Mandalorians to take the child to his kind. And so he's on this journey, and he ends up coming across this town. There's a sandworm, and he meets a guy in Boba Fett armor, and we learn his backstory and what happened to him with this Boba Fett armor, how he got it. Now, we don't know how the Jawas that he got it from got the armor, which is interesting, but we do know that, and he's going to be helping the Mandalorian, maybe, possibly throughout the season. We don't know, but that was something interesting that I enjoyed seeing that. It was a great, interesting, great way to set the season up. You introduced a new character with an interesting backstory, and then you further develop that throughout the season, or either have him just come back and do things throughout the season. It's kind of I really like this episode, but it kind of felt like that episode of Rebels where the Rebels meet Captain Rex and all that, and they go on a side quest mission to fight a giant sandworm monster. Well, that episode sucked. It was a terrible episode because it was just like, this is not what I come to watch this story for. I come to watch these characters interact. I come to learn about and listen to them talk, but instead I get a dumb monster video game side quest. And that's kind of what this felt like to me too. It was better than that because it actually gave us interesting stories and things like that, but it just felt like one of the worst episodes of Rebels to me, and I didn't care for it. It wasn't a terrible episode. It was okay. I give it, I don't know, 6 or 5 out of 10, something like that. It's closer to a 6 than it is a 5, but I feel like I didn't have to give it 5 because that's what I give that Rebels episode, because it's just like, I don't want to watch that, But yeah, I'm still excited for where the season's gonna go. I felt like this episode, just the pacing, and I'm just tired of Tatooine. Look, Tatooine has been in so many Star Wars things, it's ridiculous. Okay, I get it. It's, oh my gosh, the original Star Wars nostalgia. I don't need to hear about Tatooine every freaking 5 minutes. Why couldn't they go to a different desert planet? Why couldn't they just go to Jakku in this episode or something? I'd much rather see Jakku again than see this again. I'm so sick of Tatooine. But it didn't bother me too much. Yeah, I think that's really all I have to say, except for the fight at the beginning of this episode really didn't feel good. It felt very fake to me, very CG. I don't know what it was. It just didn't feel as real as it could. It kind of felt off to me. But, it doesn't matter too much. Good episode. We'll see you next Friday, Mando.